And again, the breaking news into SportsCenter. The Titans and Chiefs are working to finalize a trade that would send DeAndre Hopkins to KC. That coming from our Adam Schefter. The trade is expected to be completed on Wednesday. Adam Schefter joins us now with this huge news. Adam, what more can you tell us on this Hopkins trade?
Well, Ryan, this is a trade that had been in the works for quite some time now. You have a team in the Chiefs that lost Hollywood Brown to a shoulder injury during the preseason, Rashee Rice to a knee injury last month, and Juju Smith-Schuster to a hamstring injury last week. They needed some help, and they recognized that. The Titans are sitting there with an extra wide receiver and a struggling passing attack that they really could use draft pick compensation for. And so the two sides were able to figure out a deal that they're still finalizing right now that will involve a conditional 4th-round draft pick going to Tennessee and DeAndre Hopkins going to the defending 2-time Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. Imagine waking up this morning and being DeAndre Hopkins. You go from playing with Will Levis on a team that's fighting to stay in the playoff race to going to play in Kansas City, fighting for a Super Bowl championship with Patrick Mahomes. That's the life of DeAndre Hopkins, and that's a good way to start a day.
Yeah, absolutely. Huge upgrade for him. And now the Kansas City Chiefs get a receiver who's had 7 1,000-yard seasons. Huge move in the NFL. Adam Schefter breaking the news with the very latest on DeAndre Hopkins now going to the Kansas City Chiefs. Thanks, Adam.
Thank you, Ryan.
All right, for more on this breaking news story, we bring in Andrew Hopkins and Dominique Foxworth. And guys, I would imagine that Patrick Mahomes is also waking up this morning with a lot of text and a smile on his face because now he's got DeAndre Hopkins. Hawk, let's start with you. What does this trade mean for Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs?
It means everything. It gives them another reliable option. Like for Patrick Mahomes, someone who can extend the play the way that he does, he needs guys who are reliable options that understand what he's seeing from his own defense and also have the ability to make contested catches. And that's what DeAndre Hopkins still brings to the table. Yes, he's a little older in age, but at the same time, what you see with the Kansas City Chiefs is routinely they can get receivers in there and get more than other teams got out of them because of how great Patrick Mahomes is. Obviously, with Travis Kelce down the middle, it also creates the opportunity for one-on-one matchups.
You said another reliable option. How about only a reliable option? I mean, Travis Kelce seems obvious that he's going to turn it on in the playoffs. But up until now, with all the injuries, Patrick Mahomes hasn't had anybody he can count on these possession plays. So you see DeAndre Hopkins stepping into that Juju role or that Rashee Rice role. The only difference is both of those guys are more likely to give you yards after catch than DeAndre Hopkins is at this point in his career. But one thing you can trust about DeAndre Hopkins, if you put it in his vicinity, even if he is covered, he's probably going to bring the ball down. He's great with his body, and he understands how to break down zone coverages. But he's not the type of receiver that I think defenses are going to be afraid of. He's not going to break a defense with his route running or his deep play ability at this point in the game, but he's someone that Patrick Mahomes can trust.
To that point right there, as you're talking about what does it change for teams defensively when you add DeAndre Hopkins to the mix, Dominique, you have a guy that, as Ryan mentioned, has 7 1,000-yard seasons in his 12 years in the league. What can he do to defenses? If he can't take the top off, how does he change things and open things up for this Kansas City offense?
Yeah, I think what we saw the interception that Patrick Mahomes had last week with Worthy running a corner route and falling down. That's not DeAndre Hopkins. You also understand when you get zones, what they're going to see a good amount of because of Patrick's ability to run and scramble, that they are going to have Hopkins find the weak spots in those zones. He's really good at that. I just watched his plays from this season. Unfortunately, it was only 15 receptions, so it was easy to watch, but they all look the same, where he finds the weak spot in the zone and then allows Will Levis to get him the ball and move the chain. So they're going to keep these drives alive, which is not only good for Patrick Mahomes, but this is a defensive-led team, and the more you can keep the ball moving and keep them on the sideline, the more well-rested they can be and the better chance the Chiefs will have to win.
Yeah, to your point, it gives them another weapon that defenses have to pay attention to. And for the Kansas City Chiefs, this is an undefeated football team, right? But when they go against these defenses, it's very easy to key in on what they're looking to do. If you put DeAndre Hopkins out there for Patrick Mahomes, it at least gives them a more clear picture and forces defenses to play him a little bit more honest.
You mentioned just those 15 catches, 173 yards. I would imagine that changes because his situation is now slightly changed going to Patrick Mahomes in the Kansas City.
This is Tell ESPN. DeAndre Hopkins to Kansas City. We obviously were aware that Kansas City would be in the market for a receiver. Tennessee is doing the right thing in unloading pieces here. Kansas City's doing the right thing in getting those pieces. That likely, well, I think likely means they would not be in a Cooper Kupp conversation.
No.
But it doesn't necessarily eliminate that necessarily.
Oh, gosh.
Stop.
Let's wait till we hear about the compensation part of it. But if you're just tuning in, DeAndre Hopkins to Kansas City, Adam Schefter is reporting they're working on finalizing that deal.
Well, I mean, listen, this helps to mitigate the loss of Rashee Rice, doesn't it? I mean, now you've got a guy that is probably one of the best in the National Football League when it comes to contested catches, even at this stage in his career. I mean, last year he had 75 grabs for over 1,000 yards and 7 touchavers, and the Titans were in quarterback purgatory.
Right.
So, I mean, the fact that you are still getting a really productive receiver and having an opportunity to slot in with Travis Kelce and with Xavier Worthy, now Patrick Mahomes and that offense for the Chiefs can get on track.
Is there anyone in America that's happier right now than DeAndre Hopkins that he is going
Get out of jail free card
from the Tennessee Titans and as you said, quarterback purgatory essentially to playing with the best quarterback in the game and Patrick Mahomes and the undefeated Kansas City Chiefs? Whew, he is in a good mood this morning, and so are they. Being able to add a weapon to that offense, they need a weapon, and they're still undefeated. The back-to-back champs are still undefeated, and now they're adding another weapon. Scary.
Here's the thing. Not the player he used to be doesn't matter because when you're with Patrick Mahomes, if you went from an A player to let's just call it a B player, he'll get you back up to a B+. And that's all they need. They don't need an A+. A B+ in their offense with everything else they do, totally fine. Great move, we think, based on, it needs to be finalized, and obviously we don't know the compensation.
Reality is I don't know what kind of player DeAndre Hopkins is or isn't based on the quarterback play he's had the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Yep. That's fair.
It's been bad.
That's fair.
I mean, at the end in Arizona, it wasn't great. With the Titans, it ain't been great. I don't know what kind of player he is. I just know what he did last year was pretty damn good, and you're adding that to an offense that already has Travis Kelce and has Xavier Worthy.
Good move, to say the least.
Great move.
All right, ESPN personality draft. We'll give you more details as Schefter gives.
Oh,